So the winner of this week's speaking test lucky draw was Maisoon from Syria, who is an interpreter who now lives in Turkey. And her overall score was a band 7. So what I want you to do is I want you to listen to her speaking test, and as you're listening, try to determine the individual scores that she got for fluency and coherence, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and for pronunciation. And if you can determine the same scores, that means that you'll be very, very good at analysing your own recordings of your mock speaking tests. Please let me know in the comments below whether you got the correct band scores for each of those. Now, every week I have a lucky draw like this for my subscribers, and you can have a chance to win by signing up with the link in the description. And as well as that, you will have access to my free live feedback lessons for writing and speaking every week. And at the end of this video, we will select the new winner for this week. Now, I'm going to ask you some questions about your hometown. Do you still live in your hometown?
No, I'm not now. I'm not really.
Why not?
I'm not living in my hometown. I've, for some social reasons, financial reasons, many other reasons, I've left my hometown.
Was your hometown a nice place to grow up?
It is actually. I love my hometown. It's not so big city. It's the weather is nice. The people are lovely. They are easygoing, and they are so much friendly. Plus, financially, it's a good place to live in. You can find a place to work, restaurants to go. Everything is there.
Is your hometown popular with tourists?
Not really. It's in the middle of Syria, and it's popular for other things like food and the river in the middle of the city and the weather. For people inside Syria, they love to go to my hometown, but from outside, I'm not sure it's attractive for them.
Is there anywhere else you would like to live?
Certainly, I'd like to live in Japan because, you know, I'm fond of electronic things and the advanced way they live and the cleanliness they show always, and the what you call this, they are organized people, as I understand from the media.
Now I'm going to ask you some questions about household chores. Who does most of the housework in your house?
Being a mother of 3 children, I'm the one who's doing most of the chores. Having said that, I make sure that everybody at home has something to do, though. Even if they're small, from early childhood, I train them to do something and to share their responsibility, sharing the house together.
How much time do you spend doing housework every week?
Every week, you can say most of the time, 3 days, for example, 2 hours, 2 hours daily, could be 14 hours every week, you can say roughly.
Why?
2 hours including the clean. Why do you mean? Sorry, did I get you well? Because, you know, our house is not that small. It needs lots of taking care regarding the cleanliness and even the shopping. Sometimes I'm the one who's doing that, taking children to school, cooking, lots of things. I'm trying to do my best not to spend lots of time doing my chores. So I'm always looking for the shortcut ways.
Which household chore do you think is the most difficult?
cooking. You know, the cooking part is not only the chore itself, because it takes you a long time to think even what to cook tomorrow. And is it okay to serve this food today? Are they going to like it? The whole family, are they going to like it or not? Some people like this, some like other kind of food. So really it's a kind of headache just planning what to cook, not the cooking, not the dinner or the lunch itself.
Thank you.
I mean, right.
So now I'm going to give you 1 minute to prepare your answer, and you'll have 2 minutes to speak. Do you have a pen and paper ready?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to share the part 2 cue card with you on the screen. Can you please let me know when you're able to see that? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can.
I'd like you to describe a restaurant that you've eaten at. I'd like you to describe the restaurant that you've eaten at most recently. And you can start speaking now.
Last weekend, I went with my family to visit Aidenosta restaurant. Aidenosta restaurant is very famous for its breakfast meals, lunch and dinner. We ate there, we ordered, actually we went in the daytime because it's a weekend and it was sunny. So we took our breakfast there. I like the breakfast there because they have variety dishes of the Turkish cuisine, especially the muhalama. I don't know if you heard about it. It's like a cheesy kind of thing, lots of cheese inside, and you just dip it with a crunchy kind of bread. Besides lots of delicious food, eggs, sweet, jam, butter, etc. Of course, with lots of a variety of cheese as well. They have different kinds of cheese, which we all love, me and my family. We went there for several reasons, you know. Because, first of all, it's near our house. We just go walking. We had a walk while going to our restaurant and getting some fresh air. For getting some fresh air in, plus having some sunshine, exposing ourselves to some sunshine. And the place itself is in the middle of a pond, you know. They made it in the middle of a pond and lots of fountains over there. You can see the ducks also swimming there.
Okay, so we've been discussing
this is
your
part
favorite.
2, isn't it?
That's part 2, yeah. So we're moving to part 3, and we've been discussing your favorite restaurant, and I'm going to ask you some questions related to this. First, we'll discuss eating out. Is eating out popular in your country?
It is. It's really popular. That's before COVID, though, you can say. Speaking before COVID-19, people love to eat outside. As I said, Turkish cuisine has lots of dishes and delicious meals you can enjoy for everybody, adults, children, whatever your taste is like, you will find something to eat. I mean, so people are fond of going to restaurants. Sometimes we go and we hardly have place to sit in. You know, we had to wait outside in the queue to get a turn and to get a table inside to sit and enjoy our meal. So
What types of restaurants are most popular in your country?
Yeah, local restaurants, I can say. There are some fast food restaurants in the malls or something like that, but most of them are, you can say, local Turkish cuisine, Turkish restaurants. You can find some KFC, McDonald's, fast food restaurants in the shopping malls only. But most of the time, you can say that they are typical Turkish restaurants.
And why do you think some people prefer to eat out?
Well, I think there are different reasons why people prefer to eat outside. For me, I like sometimes to try new food, which I'm not cooking at home. I always love to try new kind of food. The children also, they love to go and play while eating at the same time. So they eat and they have a place to play together with their friends or other children there. Some people, they don't have time to cook maybe at home. They're so busy. So they just decide to go outside and they cook. Or if the lady burned the food, could be sometimes you don't have something to eat. You have no other choice other than going outside and go.
Now I'm going to ask you about working in restaurants. What is the best job to have in a restaurant?
The chef, I believe, because if the chef doesn't know how to cook good meals, so what's the point of going to that place? So if I taste something, even though the service is so nice and fancy and everything is clean, but the food itself is not tasty or not cooked well, and sometimes it's raw. Some people, they don't like the food to be raw. So, I mean, if he's not professional chef, it will affect the whole business in that restaurant, I believe.
Do you think restaurants should pay higher salaries to their employees?
I do believe that. After COVID-19, we all discover how important it is to look after our hygiene and what we put inside our mouths. So if I am not paid well, maybe I will not work well, and it will affect the service in that place. So I believe they should be paid well, so that the service will be better and they will love coming to work and serve other people, whatever the circumstances and obstacles are there.
Is it difficult to get a job in a restaurant in your country?
Well, I've never thought of that. However, I always see advertisements on the social media looking for some workers, waiters, or somebody to work in the restaurant. So there are lots of people who are looking to work there. And the opportunity itself, I'm not sure if still they have a good salary.
Thank you. That is the end of the speaking test.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's great. I was really nervous.
I could tell. In fact, your fluency before the speaking test was definitely better than as soon as I asked that first question, I could just tell it was like, oh, we're nervous of the test. Honestly,
this is my problem.
It's not. It's a lot of students' problem.
Before that, if once I start the lesson or the exam, I don't know what happens.
You just freeze up. It's typical. It's the stress. It's the environment. The examiner doesn't really talk in a very natural way. As in, when I'm talking to you now, when I was talking to you beforehand, I'm like a person. But in the exam, I'm a, that rigid, very robotic. I am reading. You are answering. So there's that part of it as well, where the examiner isn't really very open or friendly. That doesn't encourage it either. Having said that, it's still up to you to overcome that.
I have to.
You have to. Okay. So I think initially it seemed at the beginning there was a bit of a shock to the system and your fluency went way down, but you did get more comfortable as you went along. In part 2, you ran out of things to say towards the middle. About 1 minute in, you had said everything you needed to say, and then you were just searching for anything you could think of. And your fluency did suffer at that point as well, but you stayed going and you stayed on topic and you developed it well. But you were pausing a bit more and coming in hand. You did recover from part 1, where you were clearly nervous. You got into a rhythm. Part 2, you can improve that by making sure you have notes about what to say once you're finished the cue card. So I'll share the lesson that I have about what to do in the test with you. But it's basically, there are some notes you can make that will mean at least you know what you can say next. Because if you just depend on the cue card, you will run out of things to say. There isn't enough there for a full 2 minutes. So I'll send that to you in a few minutes after I give you feedback. Then in part 3, as the questions got more challenging, your fluency did suffer a little bit, especially the last 2 questions.
Because I didn't have anything to say though.
That's it. You didn't know what to say.
I didn't expect such kind of questions.
That will happen.
I didn't think about employing somebody in restaurants or something like that. Yeah.
But you have to expect that in part 3. That's what makes part 3 challenging, is you will be asked questions about things you have no idea of.
Yeah, so if you don't have an idea about what you've been asked, what should I do then?
Just to the best of your knowledge, your answer doesn't have to be correct. I mean, if it's very easy to get a job in a restaurant in Turkey and you tell me it's very difficult, that doesn't change your score. So,
okay.
It's not that your answer has to be accurate. I'm just listening to your language. I'm just listening to the language that you use.
So maybe because I'm thinking about the answer itself, I lost the mean.
That's what happened with your fluency. But the thing is, as well, is you could have given yourself 1 or 2 seconds before you start answering those questions. Just to gather your thoughts, because you're trying to speak and you're trying to think at the same time. Whereas if you just thought for a second, it's like, okay, is it easy? Is it difficult? What am I going to say here? And from there, you just say whatever you're going to say. That would have helped your fluency as well. Having said that, you're looking at a band 7 for fluency today.
So I could
during the test.
Band 7.
I think you could reach higher. During the test, you're a band 7. Before and after the test,
I don't know.
You're a band 8.
What can I do with this kind of, what happened with me? The same happened when I was trying to get my driving license. Actually, every time the tutor was saying, Maisoon, before the exam, you were so good. You never did any mistake. You never did any mistake before yesterday. What happened to you now? I just don't know what happened to me.
It's the exam pressure. It happens to a lot of people.
She was frustrated, especially driving. I'm so like what you call this scared kind of person.
Yeah.
I'm really scared even to cross the street. So to drive myself is a kind of really big challenge for me. So I couldn't pass, to be honest.
You still haven't gone back and. Okay,
I
well,
couldn't
let's
pass.
do the IELTS test first, and then we'll worry about
Yeah,
the driving test later.
I hold on until I buy the car first. Then I will go to the license again. Anyway,
it's the exam, yeah, but it's just about
exam fear. I mean,
it's not
it's
everybody. Everybody has it. Everybody gets it to some extent.
Exam tension or exam fear. What is
pressure?
Better?
Pressure.
Okay.
Yeah. But everybody gets it to some extent. Just some people more than others. But I mean, being comfortable in the knowledge that you can do it. You know, that in itself is comforting. For vocabulary, you're also looking at a band 7. You've got some really nice range and mostly very good accuracy. There's one small mistake. Breakfast meals. You didn't say that.
Yeah.
Oh, and actually, now that we're talking about
meals, we talked about the restaurant, and I say that we took breakfast there when we went.
But you use the phrase breakfast meals.
Okay. Yeah, I recognize that. I have done that.
And then even what you're saying is we took our breakfast there, but it would be had. The collocation is to have breakfast.
To have, to have breakfast. Yeah, right.
I didn't write down many more. There was just a few small little inaccuracies like that, but in general, your vocab is good. Grammar, you're making some mistakes, and they're quite consistent.
Like
tenses.
Tenses.
Yeah. So sometimes using the wrong tense, and sometimes actually not having a verb at all. So you said it is. You were talking about where you grew up. You said it is a good place, whereas we were talking about was it a good place to grow up? So when you were there, so that needed to be passed.
But I'm thinking that I'm just describing the place regarding the tense.
But it's the questions in relation to when you were younger.
Okay.
So was it a good place to grow up? Was it a good place to grow up when you were younger? Not is it a good place to grow up now?
I use a simple present most of the time.
So that just seems to be the confusion with the question.
The
way you use so and such. So it's not. It should be. It's not such a big city. You said it's not so big city. So you needed the article, and so and such are not used in the same way. I'm the one who is doing instead of I am the one who does.
Really? Did I do that?
You did. I think there are a few of those little mistakes like that.
Shame. I have to take care of that. Yeah.
Yeah. That of all the areas, grammar is the one that needs your attention most.
Yeah. But you see here when you say I am the one who's doing it most, or who do it most.
Does.
Who does it most?
When we're talking about household chores, I'm the one who does. I'm the one who does most of the chores.
Yeah, but here, what should I say then? Who do?
Who does?
You mean? Yeah, what did I say? Who does already?
You said I'm the one who is doing.
Who's doing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So it's just the difference between present simple reflecting, an ongoing regular task versus present continuous showing right now, like as in.
Because recently I've heard somebody saying that with some habits, you can use continuous tense. No?
I'm not going to disagree with that because I'd have to hear exactly what they were referring to. But if it's something that you do regularly, present simple is the most common.
Yeah, present simple is the most common, really.
Yeah. But there are instances, but it would be more like on a short term. So like I'm preparing for the IELTS test because that's something that as soon as you get your scores, you're going to stop. Yeah.
Right.
But in this case, it's definitely present simple. And your pronunciation is very, very strong. You get a band 8 for pronunciation. You've got really nice sentence stress, connected speech. Your intonation, if anything, if the only fault I would say is your intonation goes up more often than is
And how can I work on that?
I don't think you need to.
Okay.
I don't think you need to. It's just a small thing, but if you're already getting a band 8 for pronunciation, let's just focus on grammar, because that's the area that needs your attention most. So be six for grammar, but you're borderline. So there's like band 5, band 6. Band 6 isn't just one small. It's a big range. So you would be close to a band 7, but not quite. There are those few mistakes that you're making are stopping you there. So that would give you an overall score of 7 for speaking today.
That's
not
bad for a beginning, I mean.
Not bad at all. Far from it. I think honestly, you can do better in fluency by overcoming your nerves, and I don't have the solution for that. I can say don't be nervous. That doesn't make you less nervous. That doesn't help. I have some I've looked into various ways of calming yourself down and releasing anxiety, and that's on the lesson that I'll share with you as well. But I'm not an expert in that, and I don't pretend to be. There are breathing techniques and meditation and that type of stuff.
I see.
It's not something that I'm not a strength of mine. But that in itself, and then that and working on your grammar, that would bring you up to a band 7.5.
I will for sure.
But no, that's good. Just some other kind of side notes as well. In part, no, I'm lying. In part 1, you asked me, did you say why?
Did I get you right? I mean,
you were right. What you heard me
because
correctly the first time. But
I was not sure if I'm answering the right answer.
No, you're right. You're right to ask. You're right to ask. But the examiner.
It's good to ask. I mean,
but not the question you asked.
But so how could I
ask it a different way? You can ask the examiner to repeat.
Okay. Could you say that again, please?
Perfect.
Like that?
The examiner will repeat. But if you say, did you say the word why? Like,
yeah, all right.
I'm trying to avoid saying yes, because I cannot say yes. As an examiner, that is not something I have the ability to do. So the examiner might, it might make a weird face like that because they can't say it. So they want to help you, but they can't. So go,
I see.
So you'll see lots of like weird head motions from the IELTS examiner because they're trying to communicate without talking. But if you say to them, "Can you repeat that, please?" They can. They can repeat it, no problem.
Or maybe if I can say, "Excuse me, I didn't get you," because why it was I was not expecting why anyway. But
in part 1, that's all you'll get from the examiner. To extend the answer, they'll say why or why not. Those are the only extra questions they'll add to encourage you to continue. So that just to be aware, because it can be a little bit off-putting when you ask me a question and I wouldn't answer it.
I see.
And it's not because I'm trying to trip you up. It's because I'm not allowed as an examiner to say that. So the examiner can repeat a question, that's no problem. And the examiner can also explain a phrase. So let me just find one of the questions that we had earlier. So like, let's say I asked you, is eating out popular in your country? And you say, what does eating out mean? So you can ask me the meaning of a phrase. So you cannot say, what does the question mean?
The eating
but
outside.
you can
Part
take
of the question.
like a phrase from the question. So you can do that, or you can ask the examiner to repeat.
Let's see. What about if I don't have an idea about to say? Can I say, I went blank. Can you go to another question, please?
No.
Or would affect my? I have to say something. You mean?
Yeah, go with something. But the thing is, like, there's never any instance where you had nothing to say, and the IELTS test is, it's it's
all about life.
It's created in a way that they're not going to ask questions. They're not going to ask you about difficult mathematics or science, or they're not going to say explain the components of a phone. You don't need to know anything like that. It's going to be why are phones more popular with young people? So you might never have thought about that before, but you'll still be able to say, oh, it's probably because of this, and like, even if you go, look, I genuinely have no idea, but if I was to guess, I would say whatever. So again, it's not about being right. You could be 100% wrong, but that's not stopping you from, that's not reducing your score.
So you just say your opinion.
Yeah.
So how can I reduce this stop? Yeah, I mean, I've said lots of I believe today.
Yeah, but that was because you were underprepared for part 2, because you didn't really know how to make the notes as well. And I'll send you the lesson. In fact, I'll email it to you later. But that lesson points out what to do in that respect. In part 2. Part 3, you just needed to wait a little bit longer before you started speaking.
Yeah, I see. Regarding part 2, I thought I have to talk only for 1 minute.
Prepare for 1 minute, speak. I didn't introduce that very well.
Maybe I've thought that I have to prepare for 30 seconds or so and talk for 1 minute.
Double that.
So
prepare for
that's
1 minute,
why when I saw you waiting for me, I started to develop some more, talking about the food, the kind of food. But in my notes, I took with my family, where was it, and what kind of food we ate, and why we like it. In 1 minute, I was thinking to put that in.
Yeah, that's enough for 1 minute, but not enough for more.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to maybe to extend it a little bit more. Okay.
But that's a problem that's easily solved.
Yeah.
Right?
I got your point, but
I mean,
so my main problem.
That's something that basically you didn't know. Now you know. It's essentially the problem's already been solved. But I still have some advice on what notes to take, because you have the cue card in front of you. You're not going to forget. You can look at the cue card while you're speaking. So you're not going to forget. You're not going to forget those ideas you had. So the things that you wrote on your notes, how likely are you to forget the things you wrote down after 1 minute?
No, not much.
No. So I mean, writing those things down, it's not really helping you, because you can still look at the cue card and that reminds you what to say.
Right.
So with your notes, it would be the other things that aren't covered on the cue card that you'll be aiming for. So it's like, when do you plan to eat there again? Would you recommend it to your friends? Those types
so
of
I can
things.
add these things.
You have to add those things, because you just there's nothing else to talk about. Not specifically those things. You can say anything you want. You just have to stay talking about the restaurant. It doesn't have to be specifically those things that I mentioned, but those are things those are things you can generally discuss about any topic,
Yeah, I see. That's great.
Do you have any other questions for me at the moment?